morning. Good morning, people of God, kings and queens, sons and daughters of Zion. I hope everyone is having a great morning. Happy Thursday. It's a beautiful morning. I'm enjoying this weather change. It's it's beautiful out here. So let me put my seatbelt on. I just want to say this, people of God. Um, we should always be cognizant to, and I've said this before, but let's continue to treat people like how we want to be treated. I don't care how much status we obtain in life. I don't care. Good morning. I don't care how much status we obtain in life. I don't care about the superficial things of this world. You know, treating people the way we want to be treated, um, with respect. I know a lot of people say respect has to be earned. And I believe in, I believe you earn people's respect, but I also believe in just respecting folk, and people can lose your respect, um, you know, when they misbehave with you or act in a way that doesn't deserve respect. People can make you lose respect for them. And so I believe in giving people what I want, you know. The Bible even tells us, do unto others as you will have them do unto you. And in this time that we're living in, the Bible also tells us in the last days, people's love will wax cold. But this message is just for the people of God. Those of us who are striving to not allow our love to wax cold, our hearts to wax cold. Because I got some testimonies years upon years, all through my life. I've had many different careers. I've had many different jobs, different levels of certification, by the grace of God. I've experienced many. I have a lot of different types of experiences, and I've met all different type of people, and I've been mistreated. I know what it feels like to be mistreated because of the color of my skin. I know what it feels like to be mistreated because of my gender. I know what it feels like to be mistreated because folk are intimidated by you. I know what it feels like to just be a bright, shining light and folk are insecure at your strengths, even though you're not trying to exalt yourself over them. You are just who you are. I know what it feels like to be around insecure people, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling. And sometimes people will lash out at you or disrespect you or target you in a way because of what's on the inside of them. But in spite of all of that, I still believe in treating people the way I want to be treated. Now, am I a perfect human being? No, none of us are. Sometimes folk can catch you at the right time on the wrong day, on the wrong at the wrong time on the right day. And you're just human beings, but you can, when you find yourself falling short in a certain area, maybe you've been um, short with somebody, or you came off some way that in a way that was wrong. God will bring that thing back to your spirit, and you can make that thing right. But we live in a time where you have some folk who value themselves off of superficial things, and some folk feel like they have a right to talk down to people, to disrespect people. And if you by chance get fed up with it and you clap back at them, or you respond in a way to let them know, I'm not having it. Maybe A, B, C, and D have tolerated, or maybe they tolerate it because they chase after you, or they idol worship, or they worship you. But I'm not doing that. I don't worship you. You know, Sometimes people can't take what they've been dishing out. And sometimes when you give somebody, mirror them back to themselves, or give somebody a reality check, if they have understanding and righteousness in it, sometimes they go within themselves and they self-reflect and they make changes, because none of us can see ourselves, and sometimes we don't have anybody around us to give us feedback. But then there are times when there are folk who are just rude, who are just mean, who are just cruel, arrogant, prideful, and disrespectful, and they feel like they have a right to talk down to them, or they feel like other people should bow down to them. And oftentimes you will see some people who have these type of characteristics. It's a very dangerous thing for them to obtain any type of power in the earth and wealth, because it could become a curse to them in the latter part. But before it becomes a curse, they wreak all kind of havoc. They cause all kind of trouble in other people's lives, because their true nature gets exposed when they have the power in their hands, when they have certain levels of wealth in their hands. And we see that with Jezebel and Ahab. We see how Jezebel's nature, she was the queen. Ahab, he was the king. He had everything, you know but he wanted this particular field from Nabal. And what did he do? He lusted after that thing. He was greedy after that thing. That man done told him, this thing been in my family for generations, and he ain't had no peace. He offered so much money for it, but money can't buy certain things that's valuable to people, you know. And Jezebel, what did she do? Because her nature was corrupt, because she had power was in the wrong hands, wealth was in the wrong hands. She used what she had. Her true nature was perverted. There was no love. She had more love for the power and the superficial things than for people. If she had love in her heart and a pureness of heart, she would have never set this innocent man up to be murdered. She gathered people that conspired against them, that would conspire and lie on Nabal. And she had this innocent man murdered. She had this innocent man killed simply because her husband wanted his field. And she was going to exert her power and authority. She said, what are you whining for? Is it simple as that? What would you whine for? She was cruel and corrupt. And you know what? In this earth today, she was a tare. And we have the wheat living amongst the tare. The tares have been sown amongst the wheat. And that's what makes life hard for God's people. That's what makes life uncomfortable for God's people. But see, when we know these things and we have knowledge of these things, we can pray. We have a Father who fights for us. We have angels who've been given charge over us. This is why the prayer of the righteous is so powerful, and they avail much. But when you close your mouth, you don't have, you're not fighting. Opening your mouth and speaking things over yourself, praying for yourself, that your prayers will protect you. God hears our prayers. And then we have forces that will try to oppose us with their supernatural powers and their deities that they're working with. When Daniel prayed, when that angel reached Daniel, he said, Daniel, your prayers were heard the very first day. And I was sent to you from the first day. But on my way to you, that prince of Persia, I was held up and he fought against me. Michael had to come. You see? So Daniel's angel was held up because there were spiritual forces fighting against it, not wanting Daniel to receive his blessing. And so going back to what I said, people of God, let's continue to focus on treating people the way we want to be treated. Not letting our hearts become corrupt no matter what we obtain. Let me tell you something. I've been working since I was 13 years old. I had some people connected to me that set me back and all of that, but I don't live in the past. I always try to pray. I pray, especially now that I'm older and I've learned from a lot of mistakes I've made. There were certain things that were broken on the inside of me too, that entertained friendships that weren't even good for me. So it wasn't just the people. I'm not a victim. I'm a victor. But I want you to know something. My prayer is, God, don't ever give me anything that will pull my heart from you. Don't ever give me any riches don't let me obtain anything too soon that will cause me to become perverted or too prideful or to mistreat my brothers and sisters or look down on my brothers and sisters. I want my heart to say the same way. I can go and I can mingle with folk of all different ages and races and nationalities. There are some folk who love me and there are some folk who hate me. And it's always going to be like that because we're in a world where there's good and evil. But let's talk about the good people. When we're talking about the good people, I can mingle with people of all races, genders, nationality, and they love me. There's some people, they see me coming and they're happy when they see me coming. People who don't even look the same way that I look. People who are not of the same nationality. When I walk into some of their businesses, they say, hey, there go my Sabrina. It feels good to be embraced like that. But understand, Everybody is not going to like you, and you got to be okay with that. And you got to recognize that there going to be some good days and there going to be some uncomfortable days. You don't have it in your heart to make other people's lives uncomfortable. You're not the type of person that need people to bow down to you for you to feel confident in who you are. You don't have to exalt yourself over other people for you to feel confident and have a happy day. There are some people that are hungry for money, power, and to force other people to respect them, even if that means doing things that are illegal or doing things that will hurt the lives of other people, just so they can show them that they're better than them, when really that's not the people of God's focus. People of God, we don't ever exalt ourselves above other people. We have love and humility in our heart, and I want us to keep it that way. In spite of all the evil around us, I want us to always try to walk in love and be forgiving. Even though sometimes you're going to have to, you may remember your experiences. You have testimonies. You may talk about certain situations and circumstances. But at the end of the day, when you lay your head down on your pillow at night, don't never go to bed with wrath in your heart. Always pray, and pray for those who come against you. And I live to tell you, when folk constantly come against you and you keep walking your little walk, God will humble them folk. God has set them down. There's an appointed time. Sometimes God uses you to cross certain people's path so their true nature can be revealed, so he can test their true nature. There's a lot of people that have misjudged you walking on your little path, and they mad because as you keep outliving, I did a video back, you outliving their lives. As you keep living and their judgments are wrong and they're not proven, some people are mad because they did not gather enough information to prove you to be who they misjudged you to be. And they fight against you to try and make you or bait you into conflict to make you who they say you are, when really you're not that. And you just minding your own business, and they become furious so much to the point that their envy and furiousness make them obsess over you, because they spend night and day researching you, looking up you, how they can break you down. And I want you to know something. Don't let them live in your head for free. If you can stay focused and stay prayerful and keep your heart pure, you're going to see God deal with them. You're going to see God deal with them. And this is how you see people who were once great. Look at what happened to Jezebel. She had this high place, had all these different false prophets, but her heart, her nature was corrupt, and her end was disastrous and dishonorable, where the dogs licked her blood. What a cruel and awful way to die. A dishonorable, disastrous way. You understand? And so keep your heart pure. Let God fight the battle. Look at what happened to Daniel's enemies, those supervisors, those governors, those lieutenant governors, and people who held high positions. You see, they had riches, they had wealth, they had positions of power, influence, and honor, but they were not satisfied. They were not satisfied. And they kept watching, picking, investigating Daniel till they finally came up with something. Okay, this is what we're going to have to use against him. Because he prays all the time, we're going to have to find something about his religion, something about his prayer life, something about his God. And they were subtle. They were crafty. Oh, glory. And Daniel ain't knew nothing about it. He just kept on going. He just kept on doing his own little thing in his own lane. So you see, when he got thrown in that den, when he was found in violation, he was guilty of the law that was passed. But it was a treacherous law that was passed just to trap him. But the God he served, baby, that God showed up and sent the angels to close the mouth of the lions. And what happened to his enemies? You see, the ditch and the pit they set up for Daniel to fall in, what happened? They ended up falling in. And then there are some times when God will have to humble your enemies. When Joseph's brother ended up coming around, when that famine was so vexed and sore in the land, they could have died of starvation. But it was the same little old Joseph who they once despised for his gifts, for his dreams he didn't even understand himself, but he was sharing them. And they once despised little old Joseph and went to that land hungry, desperate, ain't had nothing. Their strength couldn't do nothing for them, you know. And when they saw that was their brother, they were embarrassed. They were shamed. And Joseph had love. He never lost that love in his heart. That's why he wept. See, when he went to that back room, he loved them so much, but he remembered how they sold him. And so he felt the pain of it, the remembrance, because the memories weren't good. So he went to that room and he wept because he remembered how much treachery in his heart, in their hearts, that they had for them. And I know in my spirit, when he went and he cried, he was thinking, how could these people, they didn't even recognize who he was right then. He disguised himself. But I know when he went and he wept, he's wondering, how could they hate me so much and sold me off like that? How could they do that? How could they secretly conspire against me like that? Why would they have done that? But after he went and he wept, sometimes you might have to weep. It's okay. Crying cleanses the soul. After he wept, he came back, had himself together. He challenged them a little bit. You will find that in I think it's the book of, is it Jasher? You will find that in the sea for further details. Oh, he challenged them. And his son had the same strength as his brother, I think, was it Simeon? Whichever his brother that had that streak, that powerful streak that could bring men to their knees. Joseph's son had that same power. And so when they battled a little bit, when his son had that same strength, Joseph's brother looked and he was like, I know that strength. That strength got to be one of us. That's one of our people. That's what they said amongst themselves. That's one of our people. But they still ain't recognizing that with their nephew and that with Joseph. Well, he battled him a little bit. He ain't just said what y'all meant for harm, God turned it for good. I accept you. No, he accepted them in his heart, but he challenged them just a little bit back and forth. And you'll find that in the Sefer. But that thing hurt Joseph. But in the end, his heart never left. He never lost love for his brothers, even though they did what they did to him. But God humbled them, and they were sorry. Joseph had to feed them, the very one that they sold off, because they were so jealous of him, envious of him. They let the devil get in their heart. Joseph said, what y'all meant for bad, God used it for my good. And many of you people of God, them people that coming up against you, some of you talk about your family member, be forgiven. Be forgiven. There's things, some of you, one lady, she said, oh, her mom and her sister. There's things that may have happened in your bloodline prior to your mama that your mama never got over. There's things that she probably went through that she never had nobody to counsel her. She never knew how to deal with it in her heart. So there are things that she probably put you through because she's dealing with curses that she never knew how to break. And maybe she was growing up in the church with a lot of hooting and hollering, but nobody could see and get to the root of that thing and help her heal. I'm not making excuses for what you're going through, but just have grace and mercy. You know, my father was never in my life at all. You know, my childhood wasn't perfect, but I love my parents, both of them. Even though my father was never there, I still love him. And I gained something. I gained strength. The things I can do, a lot of my female friends growing up, they don't do a lot of the things I do. And I made in my mind, I would never have to be at the mercy of a man or open myself up and give myself to a man to get things done. My father was the first and only man that ever broke my heart. But I love him. And there's things that my father went through in his childhood that affected him differently than how it affected my uncle, his brother. You know, there's things that he went through when he was hurt. He held it against his mother, you know, and that's something that he got to release in his heart and be better. So he took it out amongst women, you know, but I'm not mad at him. I forgive him. Even if you have to go no contact sometime, still pray for these people. Love on them, you know. So always have a forgiving and a loving heart in life. That's what sets us apart. And as you grow, because God will increase, he's already increasing many of us. As God continues to increase you, and you see your brothers and sisters got certain gifts and skills, don't envy them. And let me tell you how you can cut envy off. Praise them. Somebody who really got deeply rooted envy, they're not going to be able to compliment you. They will even copy you and try to mirror you and cut you down at the same time. And it would be very odd, weird like behavior, make it uncomfortable. Because sometimes these people can have way more money than you. Sometimes they can have more position than you. And it's like, what is this? And then you would, and when you have the light of Christ, you will have witches that watch you. You know, they're attracted to that light, and they will try to keep working against you, testing your gifts and all kind of stuff. So you just be in prayer. Always stay in prayer. The prayer of the righteous availeth much, but never let your heart turn wicked. When I had folk would do things against me, I got lots of testimony. Folk don't understand where you get your knowledge and wisdom from sometimes. They envy your gifts, but they ain't know what you've been through. They want something inside of you sometimes, but they ain't want to go through the hard things that you've had to endure, the long suffering. They don't know your full story, but they will size you up and judge you and think they have a right to label you. Or think you should bow down to them when they not even qualified to speak into your life. I've been through a lot of different things, but one thing that sets me apart of my adversaries, I never let my heart turn cold. I've been mad. I get mad. That's a natural human emotion. I may yell, I may fuss, I may clap back at something. A lot of things I just let it go over my head because clapping back even take your energy to focus on somebody. Sometimes it's good to just keep moving around people and you find yourself stay in joy and stay. But sometimes you may do that. That's a normal human emotion. But the heart posture, always abide in love, humility, and give honor where honor is due. Praise your brothers and sisters when you see they're operating in different gifts, because we all got different. None of us is better than the next person, but there'll be some people so intimidated by you, they lashing out at you because of their insecurities, because they ain't spent enough time on the inside of themselves. So they not happy on the inside when you happy inside. So they'll be sizing you up, looking at you, looking at how you dress. Well, why they got on they don't even dress like that, and why they got a smile? They need to be ashamed, but they need to do this, they need to, and they don't even know nothing about your life and how you moving in life, right? But it's how your confidence. Sometimes people get envious of that, or they can't break that. Rather than getting to getting to know you, learning you, some people just have this complex about themselves where they think that they are superior to everybody. And it's good to stay away from people like that. They will make life hard for you. They will start paper trails like name. They'll start word curses on you. They'll start rumors on you unbeknownst to you. They'll have people who you don't even know thinking they know you. And you don't even know them like that. There'll be people, you will be surprised. There will be people who never had a conversation with you and they'll be watching you and then discuss you with other people who don't know you, and then other people who don't know you. And as you coming across people, you will see people, they'll treat you like they know you when really none of them knows you. It's very weird, right? Life is spiritual. So be in prayer. Understand your prayers will work for you, but always let's treat people the way we want to be treated. That's what sets us apart, even though it can be hard sometimes. Always treat people the way you want to be treated and remain in love. And if you got to take the high road and ignore some food, and ignore it and keep on moving. Like I always say, move around them. When you learn how to move around them, when you learn how to juke, like that football game blitz that me and my cousin used to play, when you learn how to do that little juke move, on people, on life, on BS, on stuff that doesn't serve you, on things that don't compliment you or help you grow in the right way or build your spirit up, when you learn how to move around that stuff that's meant to send to those attacks, the shade that people throw to try to break your spirit, when you learn to move around that stuff and juke on them, and I mean really juke on them, like don't give it your thought energy, don't focus on it, oh, you winning. You win. And some of you say, oh, I ain't got no friends. But understand that sometimes you need to be set apart for a season so God can develop your gifts. And when you ain't got no friends, you know what my best friend is? The gym. Lately, I've been finding so much like joy in the gym, even more. Like I like to go to the gym, but even more than usual. I've been going to the gym every single day. And I'm going again today. I went last night. I'm going again today. You know, Find something that benefits your body, your mind, or your soul, and let that be your best friend. It could be reading. I like to read the word of God. That benefits my soul. That's another thing. That's my best friend. I really don't like reading a lot of other books, but I love the Bible. I love books that help me learn more and more about my Father, and ways to how to live in this earth. But whatever it is that feeds your mind, body, and soul helps you be better. Let that be your best friend. Let that be your best friend. So anyway, that's just my little 2 cents. That was on my spirit. You know, let's continue to treat people how we want to be treated and abide in love. So I know I went all over the place saying in this message. But that's just what was in my spirit. Y'all have a blessed day. Now, if nobody told you that they love you, I'm telling you, your little country bunking sister loves you. There's only one of you in this whole wide world, and wherever you go, you got a light on you that shine bright. Don't ever let that light grow dark. Keep shining bright. And we know that the blood of Jesus Yeshua, our friend, our Savior, our brother, that blood is working for us in the earth today. And that's the only blood that has power. Have a blessed day.